conferences can get really boring and you can get very tired very quickly. But for a moment, I felt like I was watching an Oprah Winfrey show and really getting into the dialogue, and it made it a lot more interesting.
I'm a little sad to see so many empty chairs, and as a representative of the 7%, because that's what it came up as far as consumers, former consumers, I'd like to see more of them here too. Their voice is important. So that's, to me, part of the lesson is that the net needs to be cast a little further.
Oh, it's a perfect location for an event like this, and it's always good to gather with other service providers and people in the industry that are here to make lives better for a lot of the young people and adults that we serve.
I think the conference so far for me is really great. It's a chance to see my colleagues who I think are really important, especially in this work when it's really hard. Getting an opportunity to see them and talk to them sort of really re-inspires me.
I think it's fabulous. It's raising great issues. It's really making us think. We don't really have many answers, but that's okay. As long as we're all thinking and we're all aiming towards the right goal or the same goal, then we're making progress.
As soon as you entered the room this morning, you got the feel that it was going to be about conversations. So the setting was your living room setting. We're inviting folks to talk to you, to share with you, which is very different if you think of cultural competence and what we're trying to achieve. You've heard here today, a lot of it's about engagement, it's about trust, building those relationships. And how best do you build those relationships? It's in that kind of setting. The setting has to be right for us to be able to do that.
Kept on bugging me was I really want all of those presenters to really be in the shoes of the community-based practitioner. And they were verbalizing it to a certain degree, but no one ever gives it enough time. And the reality is most practitioners or most professionals or most community advocates, they're stretched thin. They're running from project to project. They have very little time to worry about evidence-based practice and the implementation and the study of it. And it's not because we don't want to, we just physically can't or really tired. And so the dialogue that I wanted to see, and it's not really a question, but the dialogue I wanted to see is how do we change that? Because I think most in the community really want effective practices. We want what works. We see the clients and we see the consumers and we want them to get better personally. I mean, these are names and faces for us.
This is great. I mean, this is the very first time that we actually cross-talked those who strong supporter of evidence-based practices and those who are trying to create awareness of or bringing culturally defined practices to the forefront, and those who actually utilize both. So I think this is very important, and I wish that there are more people come to this conference, or perhaps CiMH can repeat this at different regions of California, because this is a true crosstalk.
Big picture for me seems to be lacking. We talk about community-defined practices and emotional health, but really everything about disparities is really connected to the bigger issue of health disparities. And so if we keep sort of siloing behavioral health issues with just behavioral health issues, then we forget the pieces that are about immigration, forget about poverty, women's rights. And I feel that we really need to talk about those issues.
So did I learn anything? No, but it's always progress. It's only been 2 hours, but it's always good learning when you can empathize and feel what other people are feeling. You can hear how other people are verbalizing it. It's always good to see other people's perspectives. So yes, I did learn a lot, I guess, in that sense.
I think hopefully before the end of the day and the end of this conference tomorrow, we'll start be able to put together some solutions and start implementing them as soon as possible.
Our next step, I'd like to see another one of these and more participation for people that are consumers and former consumers. And I would like to have the invitation go out in a different way. Because I think it was relatively limited. Just from what I've seen anecdotally of who's here, I think there's a lot of folks that know each other, and it's this, the same network type thing, and maybe there's not that much growth coming from that. So I'd like to see more inclusion, and I mean real inclusion that goes beyond skin color.
I think that the one thing I gathered is that a lot of the participants in this conference still have a lot of questions, which is a good thing, is that the conference can respond to those sentiments and not let people walk away feeling like they didn't get what they asked for when they walked in the door. And so now coming back into the second part of the session, the second half of this conference, I think people now can get some of their questions answered, and the polls help that facilitate that.
I really like those pushy things, those poll taking things. Those are fabulous because it got me participating. And then I am not a Twitter user, but I am a multitasker, and I like to be efficient with my time. And so while I was listening to the show going on, the conference, I actually signed in to Twitter and I posted on Twitter, and that made it really fun to see my post and then to see the response and to follow other people's tweets. That made it it heightened the level of experience today.
I'm not technology savvy, but I must say it's bringing technology and using all the media and all the opportunities to learn and engage. So just kind to that other level. My colleague who is with me, he's there tweeting as well. So, he's a younger guy. He's right there. And we need to employ all the strategies. We hear about strategies and the tweeting and the videoing, and this little thing here is employing the strategies so that we can learn and engage.
The clicker concept is great, and it is so inclusive, and so much of the paper evaluations or satisfaction surveys, I'm as guilty as anybody else. They're just so pro forma, and people are hurrying to do them before they leave, or they're just not even looking. This is different.
I'd have to say that the use of technology in the conference is probably one of the highlights and something that's new to anything that I've ever seen at a conference. And it's interesting because usually on the other side of a conference, when you're presenting something, you notice people on their phones and doing other things, but it's kind of unique to actually have people using their phones for benefit, and probably less likely to be doing other things on their phones when they're actually going to be tweeting or doing something related to the conference.
First time I've done the keypad. The keypad and the polling. Yeah, so I'm really excited. I want to do that with my kids at home. Hook them up to, what do you want for dinner, right? You said you wanted this, so you better eat it, right?